Hello and welcome to this preview of the Final Four matchup between Real Madrid and Olympiacos. I'm going to break down what you need to pay attention to in this game, but you're going to want to stick around until the end of this video because if you do, I've got something for you that has something to do with this screen right here. But for right now, let's get back to the action and talk about Real Madrid. It all begins with their transition offense run by the head of the snake, Campasso. He is so good at pushing the ball in transition and finding a way to get to paint either for himself or for kickouts, and it doesn't matter whether it's off of a missed shot, long rebounds, or a steal. This team is so fast in transition. So if Olympiacos gets sloppy with the basketball and turns it over in a live ball situation, they are going to pay for it because of how good Real Madrid is at turning defense into offense. And as far as missed shots, I'll be curious to see if Olympiacos crashes the glass or if they send 2 or 3 people back, because if you try and get offensive rebounds against this team and you don't come up with it, you're probably giving up a bucket on the other end. Now in the half court, what makes Real Madrid so difficult to guard is they have shooters all over the court. And not only do they have a lot of three-point weapons, but they're very unselfish and they're all about finding the open guy. And when you have a team that plays like this, it opens up the paint because now defenders don't want to leave their matchup and potentially give up an open three. And you'll see this play out in their offensive scheme. And as you watch this game, what you're going to see is they set a ton of pick and rolls with their 5-man, and this puts a lot of stress on the defense to protect the rim and the three-point line. The purpose for them setting all these ball screens is they are just trying to get to paint and collapse the defense. As soon as they can draw defenders to the middle of the paint, that's where they can utilize all of these shooters and get the ball out to the perimeter. And this is what they did against Baskonia, and it's why they destroyed them offensively. In all 3 of their games, they were able to get the ball to the middle of the paint, collapse the defense, and then their shooters are just ready to catch and shoot because they know the ball's getting kicked back out. And the reason this works is because on the roll, defenders have to come in and do what's called tagging the roll man, and that's what opens up their man for a catch and shoot shot. And when you have high IQ guards like Sergio Yui, these are easy decisions to make. And with as much time as Olympiacos has had to prep for this game, I would anticipate them switching ball screens rather than playing any type of hedge coverage. And the reason why is because when you get 2 people to the ball, Real Madrid is going to destroy you. They make such good reads that once you get 2 to the ball and that big helps, these tag defenders are stuck between a rock and a hard place because he doesn't come over because he's worried about the shooter, and now they can just throw the lob to Tavares. And the reason I think they have to switch is because if you watch this clip, as soon as the ball handler comes off, the big tries to stay attached to not give up a lob, and the other 3 defenders don't want to give up a shot to their man, and it leaves this wide open layup, and you can't just give that up all game. So as you watch this game, pay attention to the defense that Olympiacos runs every time that Real Madrid sets a ball screen, because I think it'll be the key to this game. Now, the other action that you're probably going to see them run quite a bit is what's referred to as floppy. And all that means is you're going to have 2 bigs that are setting pin downs for a shooter who can either go off of the 2 side or the single side. Now, this doesn't look too complex, but here's what they're trying to do out of this action. If they chase the guy off and this big has to help at all, because Poirier is such a lob threat, any help at all by his defender is going to open up this runway for him to go get an easy lob. But because they have good shooters, anytime that the defense tries to do what's called shooting the gap so that they don't get caught behind, their shooters are good enough to fade off of that screen and get an open look. So now let's talk about what Olympiacos is going to bring to the table. The thing that they do extremely well is they know how to attack the rim. They've got several guys on the court that are very good at driving gaps, getting downhill in one-on-one matchups, and they know how to score it in the paint. And that's not to say they can't shoot, it just means that they're very good at getting to the rim. And one thing to pay attention to is they like to run these dribble handoffs or middle weave concepts, and what it does is it removes help defenders and gap defenders, which makes it that much easier for them to get these one-on-one situations to get to the paint. And it's not just plays that they run, they set really good back screens and understand how to cut when their defender's not paying attention, and they're always looking to hit guys. And the last place that you're going to see this is in transition. Don't expect a lot of kick out threes, expect them to get right to the rim. So Real Madrid is going to have their work cut out for them trying to keep these guys out of the paint and off the free throw line because a lot of them can get there. Now, similar to Tavares and Poirier, Olympiacos does have lob threats with Wright and Fall, but they utilize them in a much different way, and I would expect to see a lot of post-isolation plays in this game. The reason they like to post up their bigs is because, number one, they have the length and the ability to get to the paint and score it at the rim. The primary reason they throw the ball into the paint is because it allows them to cut off the basketball and get kick out threes if the defense helps at all. So a lot of the threes that this team gets comes from inside out. So it'll be interesting to see if Real Madrid recognizes this and decides they're just going to play straight up and not give up any kick out threes and say, if you can score on us one-on-one in the post, we'll give you that all day, but we're not giving up cuts and open kickouts. Now, the thing that I believe is the key factor for Olympiacos is they have two clutch scorers that when it comes down to the end of the game and they need a bucket, they rely on Isaiah Cannons and Nigel Williams-Goss to create buckets for them organically, whether it's off of isolation, pick and roll, or just finding a way to score it when they need it. And throughout this season, these two guys have stepped up when their team needs buckets down the stretches of games, so I would anticipate if we get a close matchup, one of these two is probably going to have the ball in their hands when they need a bucket. And the craziest thing about that is that their leading scorer is Alec Peters, but a lot of his buckets come off of somebody else getting him an open shot, whereas these two guys create it on their own. And this is another thing that I would call the game within the game, and that is matchups. Who is Real Madrid going to put on these two guards late in the game to try and stop them when they know that there's going to be one-on-one situations and they have to come up with a stop? Now, if you stuck around to the end of this video, I want to say thank you, and here's what I've got for you. Euroleague is giving out a 30% discount for the Final Four passes, but I'm giving out 4 free ones, 2 in this video and 2 in the other preview video of the Final Four. Now, all you have to do to give yourself a chance to win is make sure you're subscribed to the Film Room, and in the comments, just put hashtag F4Glory. I'll reach out to the winners the day before the Final Four. Thanks for coming through. We'll see you next time in the Film Room.